You can always see the news from a new vision, connecting the global south, only on Telesur.
How are you? Welcome to Critical Moves of Telesur. A spark that has ignited the flame, the assassination of Qasem Soleimani by the order of Donald Trump. What have the reactions been after this unfortunate event that began the year? What are the consequences may this bring? May we say that it comes in the midst of an electoral year. Let's begin. The funeral that has been followed by thousands of people was a headline of many newspapers. For example, Reuters says, apparently it's been the largest since 1989 by the Mohamed Mohaini. Let's see what El País de España says about this funeral. Here are the images. As you can see, millions of people. These are 11 images that El País presents. And we can see all of the Iranian people that have come together to mourn the assassination of this general. He was very beloved by the people. And these images show the millions of people that went to this place. Trump says that the death was necessary. However, these images say the contrary. Now, what are the arguments that the White House has given for this to justify this assassination, and what have been the reactions? Last night, under my direction, the United States military has gone through with a military operation that has put an end to the life of Hussein Soleimani. He was assassinated. He was planning some assassination against North American people, but we have ensured that to stop his plans. He was planning a very important attack. The United States thought that they would end the problems if he was killed. However, it's a strategic mistake that they have made. You're going to see what it's in store for them. We can say that if Qasem Soleimani was with us, the region would not have been the same. The Islamic Republic of Iran has the right to respond at any moment, and any way it will do so. We will not participate in the campaigns of defamation of the United States. We will give them a correct response at the moment. The United States has made a big mistake. 3 dimensions. 1, sovereignty of Iran. 2, violate international law. And 3, to spark the emotion of all of these people here. We are not confronting a normal assassination, as if it was an incident that could happen after negotiations. The United States is not doing so. The United States began this. We did not attack them, and this is how a war began in the region. To better understand the outcome of all of this, we're going to see a review of who was General Qasem. This man was born March 11 in 1957 in Kerman. When he was 22, he was part of the Revolutionary Guard. In 1979, short after the Islamic Revolution, led by the Khamenei, In the Iraq War, he was named commander. Years later, he was part of a brigade that he was confronting 8 years of war. After the war, he protected the borders of Iran. He started with the fight against the war trafficking. In 1998, he was named the head of a military battalion. In the last years, the general carried out a transcendent task in Syria and Iraq. He gave a lot of military advice. Thanks to his abilities and strategies, he was named a general, and he became a legend. For the young revolutionaries of the region, General Soleimani, he's a hero, and he's a motivation to confront the injustice. Let's locate this nation where the unrest is growing all the time against the United States. This is the nation of General Soleimani. Iran. This is the Republic of Iran, is a sovereign country, and it has a great location due to its location near Central Asia, Southern Asia. Before, they were known as Persia, and it's the home of ancient civilizations. They have borders with the Caspian Sea, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, the Oman Gulf, the Persian Gulf, Iraq, and Turkey. The capital is Tehran, and it's located between the biggest countries in the world because its surface is 1.6 million square kilometers. Regardless of the boycott of the United States, Iran has a great influence in the region. It has great resources of hydrocarbons, the fourth of oil, the first in gas, and it is part of the Strait of Hormuz, through which the third part of the oil of the world goes through. The Iranian military is among the three most powerful in the world. It is part of the founding members of United Nations, MNOL, Islamic Organization, and the OPEC. Let's see the repercussion. For example, what does Hispan TV say in their digital website? This is of today. United States has begun a very dangerous game by assassinating Soleimani. The world has said to the United States that this is a very, very dangerous game, and they should be expecting the repercussions. This is what the This was said by the general of the brigade, Skarskachi. He said that the reaction will be meditated, and he underlined that the presence of Soleimani in Iraq was totally legal, and the pretension of Baghdad. Another website that we should all review is of January 5th, says Iran will stop fulfilling the nuclear pact after the assassination of Soleimani. They will stop with the limitations of the nuclear program, that was signed in 2015. However, they will continue cooperating with the International Atomic Energy Organism. And what they do is to eliminate the last technical restriction that will limit the number of centrifuges, and the production will increase. As of today, the nuclear program will be developed according to their technical needs, and there will be no limitations. However, they have not announced that they will withdraw from this agreement. This can say that the inspections will be allowed. Let's take advantage to suggest reading this article in rebellion.org, and it's titled After this assassination, there is a lot of threats that Iran will respond. There's no doubt. However, how and where, this will define the episode of this conflict. United States and Israel may be leading us to a new war in the zone that is vital for European interests. Nothing will be the same ever again. Soleimani was a leader that was fundamental, and he was a focal point for the United States. And this action has just sparked all of the gunpowder that was already in the region. What is clear is the United States and Israel has begun and has showed that they think they have the right to go into any house, any place, any country. The Russian of Turkey and Russia will not be awaited. If ever the European Union would be clear enough to define their position, now would be the time. And they should assess that the United States could be leading to a next war. For Spain, this is not something new. Meanwhile, the Trump administration has said that they will reinforce their presence in the region. The new government will have to define their position very soon. With these recommendations, let's go to our first pause. Not before asking you to participate with us. Here we have our Twitter question, and it says, 2020 has begun with a ferocious escalate of tensions between the United States and Iran after the assassination of General Just like Israel has the right to the self-defense, the United States has the same right. Qasem Soleimani is responsible for the death of North Americans that were innocent. He was planning more attacks of this sense. President Trump has all of the right to act rapidly. Israel supports the United States to struggle for peace and for the self-defense. The crisis between Iran and the United States has increased. It's incredible to think why they asked Iraq for this. This would be to damage the stability of the region. China is following very closely the tension in the Middle East. Nobody wants to see that this situation doesn't improve. It is vital that the situation improve. We call upon the United States not to abuse on their powers, and we call on both parties to act with moderation to avoid the situation to be intensified and to retake the dialogue and to bring down the tensions. The tensions are increasing in the Middle East, and we are very concerned about this. The escalation should be avoided. I'm telling on both parties to put everything they have to put forward and to avoid any conflict. Here were the international statements. Now we're going to see a timeline on how this has been advanced during the previous U.S. administration, and especially in the Trump administration. the relationships, both diplomatic and political, of the United States and Iran have been difficult throughout the years, especially since 1979, after the outfall of the Shah of Iran. However, in 2015, under the Obama administration, there was a very important world agreement between this country and other 6 countries. And after a lot of negotiations that lasted over 2 years, that tried to relieve the war tensions in the area, part of the agreement was to stop the nuclear program in exchange to have the U.S. blockade lifted. This all ended with the Trump administration, who in 2018 decided to withdraw from the agreement. The consequences of the withdrawal of Washington were clear. The exportation of the Iranian exportation fell, and this affected the well-being of the sovereignty of the country. Another part has been the sanctions that have been unilaterally applied by the United States. And what they imply is that some of the organizations of this country have been declared as terrorists. These are the facts that have marked the increasing tension between Iran and the United States. In this first part of the analysis, we are with Ángel Rafael Toro. He is a professor, investigator, former diplomat, and we are very pleased to have you here in Critical Moves. This is the first one of 2020. Well, welcome to our program. We are analyzing very interesting topics that are marking lines of this year. Well, Trump finally did what we expected him to do. He was going to invade a nation, or attempt an assassin, a prominent figure, such as Qasem Soleimani. He was a man with a very high prestige, not only for the Islamic world, but a hero for everybody. In fact, the Iranian authorities, beginning by the Ayatollah and the other authorities, have said that he was a martyr. The assassination is... However, we are very concerned that there are not black flags that are because of the death, of the mourning. Here there are red flags that are calling for vengeance. And what they're asking is to have a confrontation. And what we have is that the Muslim world wants to wash with blood the forehead of the aggressor. Of course, these are symbols. Maybe we're not much aware of them. However, in the Muslim world, this is very important because what is said is done. So this attempt against a man of the stature, and he was also a cultural symbol, and this has caused a tension that is concerning the rest of the world. This is, of course, this is a problem for the West, for Europe, for Latin America, for everybody.
Dio como un golpe al comercio de los hidrocarburos a nivel internacional con su introducción de la técnica fracking, que hizo que los precios se desplomaran.
Y lo hemos dicho, el fracking sacarlo de la tierra vale $30 y comercializarlo.
That they have a different approach to extracting oil. So they use the fracking. And if we analyze this, if we need an oil, if we need to extract the oil in terms to be beneficial for the United States with the fracking, of course, the United States would have to be using this. With this move, Donald Trump, this has been a very contradictory and inconvenient move. What he's trying to do is trying to bring forth the will of the people, the voters in the U.S. to put him once again in the White House. We cannot assure that this is the only objective. Of course, this year is an electoral year, and the world can clearly see that Donald Trump has been the only president that had not ordered a war or mobilization of troops. And what he's doing now is assassinating Qasem Soleimani, who is not he's not just a normal person, a normal leader. But he killed Soleimani and 5 other martyrs, so it's a total of 6 martyrs. Apparently, everybody thought that Trump's threats were not going to be, he was not going to pull through with them. However, and we thought so because through a Twitter message, he criticized Barack Obama when he sparked some type of action to infuriate the Middle East. He even accused Obama to start a war, and that would boost his re-election campaign. In any case, the American establishment, we have said that as a thesis that that a war is always something that people rally behind. So it could be good for Trump. Let's think if there's a rejection of this war position that Trump is leading. How can this have repercussions on the elections? Well, let's not forget what happened with Bush. He allegedly lost the war, and he won with the recount in Florida. And well, let's not forget that the U.S. Doesn't have direct elections, so the popular vote really doesn't matter. But what really matters is the Electoral College. I don't think that they will elect a different president because the policy of the United States has endured for 150 years lately. And the line is that they can do whatever they want as long as they don't go beyond the path that has been established. And they have always thought that they are the police of the world and that they're the strongest empire, which is, of course, now under scrutiny, under doubt, because let's not forget we have China and Russia and the position of Turkey. So if we're going to talk about the powerful have condemned the actions of Donald Trump. And there's something else about Trump. He says it outspoken. I assassined Qasem Soleimani. He says it like out loud, and he has no remorse. He's a very dangerous man for the world peace. We know it here in Latin America. America. But this man, maybe the world has not seen that he's very dangerous, because he's able to do anything to maintain this control of the world. Let's go to our first pause. How has Iran related to the other countries of the world? This is what we're going to analyze now. After 2011, there has been a new cycle in the world democracy. Iran has been part of all of the wars that there have been going on in the region. They counterattacked some actions in the United States. The Iranian influence in the area goes beyond the region, and they have influence on the Shiites, and they also have influence with Qatar. Of course, together they are building the biggest gas reserve in the world. They also have intervention in Yemen.
Cuya familia regente, además de ser uno de los más firmes aliados de Estados Unidos, es uno de sus principales detractores del país persa. Tanto Israel como Arabia Saudita,
Israel and Saudi Arabia, with the support of the United States, are afraid of Iran's wealth. Iran, with their geographic and military wealth, has not been easy to deal with the United States. And let's not forget that they have popular support, and their government has good relationships with other countries that have the veto power in the United Nations. They also carry out military exercises with other countries, so this expands the view. So let's come back to the studio. As I told you, we have our next guest here, and we are so glad to have you here. She's Isabel Franchi. She's an expert in the Middle East, and we are very happy that you are with us in the first edition of Critical Moves of 2020. Well, thank you very much. I feel so at home. And Dr. Franchi has brought a world map to locate the strategic focal points that will speak better of the repercussions of the assassination of Qasem Soleimani. Well, first of all, we would like to express our sorrow for the loss of General Soleimani. He has been an important man for the region. The repercussion of this assassination, of this martyr, is three-tiered. One, the international repercussion, where this action of Donald Trump has not understood that the world does not spin solely around the economic interests, but now he does not understand that there is a world that has profound beliefs, and that ever since 1979, General Qasem Soleimani has been a leader of his people. And after all of these years, he's even more strengthened, and the bloodshed has left has left a trace of what will come. And let's not forget that the people want an answer. This may be a sublevation, might be a military response.
El pueblo iraní y el eje resistente tanto en Irak y Yemen, Bahrein, Siria, Líbano.
Several Arab countries will be backing Iran. And what Iran has been able to do to try to divide Iran, on the contrary, what he has done is make everybody rally behind their leaders. Because this man was a leader for his people. Regionally, he has also been able to bring together two great countries, such as Iraq and Iran. And with them, Yemen, Syria, Bahrain, and Libya, against all of this military force. And furthermore, he was able to, this attack has able to make the people in the region be so infuriated to demand an attack on the U.S. So now the Iraqi parliament has asked to expel the U.S. military forces. And if they don't accept the withdrawal, we can be speaking of an occupation of the U.S. in Iraqi soil. And should this happen, Iraq would have the right to fight against these forces on their ground. Let's not forget that they have a right of self-determination and defense. So this is the international overview. I was asking myself, you made me recall, how aware is Trump and his advisors when he took this decision of, well, I think that they were fully aware. It's the United States government imposing themselves on the Middle East. This is a very dumb move. And with this, what they've done is to unify two countries that were not so close, which is Iraq and Iran. And now they have a reason to be together and to join their forces. This was like joining the Persian and Iran. Let's not forget that Iraq is a country that really doesn't have a clear leadership. The other thing that we must understand is that Obama said we're going to redefine the Middle East, and this was to strengthen the position of the U.S. with these countries. And at the end,
quedando arrinconado en esta conflagración.
they are now cornered. Because if there's a war definition, we cannot, we can only expect a big devastation. So there is a great risk of what could happen. Furthermore, we are speaking of Iran. Iran understands their culture, and they are people who work long-term objectives. They don't act impulsively. What they do is they set a clear objective, and they go and they work towards that. Let's not forget that Qasem Soleimani is a big leader. He was a very important man. As we saw the funeral, his funeral was seen only once. And I think it was bigger than when the Ayatollah Khomeini died. So what we can say is that what this man meant religiously, what we can explain how the son and the grandchildren of Muhammad that were martyrs, and of course this means a lot, both religiously and politically. And let's not forget that they rose the red flag, which means vengeance. And all of this has a religious connotation that is very important. That it's no longer a simple assassination. This is an attempt against a doctrine, against a way of being, of ideological beliefs. So everyone in Iran is willing to die for this conviction. And let's not forget that they don't work short-term or medium-term. They work for the long term. And now they're thinking, is Soleimani worth the head of Trump or what? So it will be soon that the United States will know that their end is near. And as soon as this happens, this will be the first step for the destruction of the United States. I'm saying it January 6, 2020. The decline of the U.S. has begun. And what we have not seen is what's going on with Israel. Israel is the bloody hand of the United States. It's not that we hate Israel, it's that we hate their owner. And this death of Soleimani will shift all of the world. So speaking of the world map, let's focus on the Middle East. This is the map that you have brought, and let's analyze it. So how should we understand the geopolitics of this region? Here we have Iran, but if we see in the map in the middle, where there's more than 40 U.S. military bases that are circling Iran, if we see Pakistan, Afghanistan, Azerbaijan, Kuwait, Qatar, etc., we have all these people of the Persian Gulf. So we can see all of the military bases that are surrounding Iran. Let's not forget that there is this Silk Route through which that there is a passage of gas, of petroleum, and here we have the Strait of Hormuz. And the Strait of Hormuz so we're speaking of a zone that is very important.
El petróleo que se comercia en el mundo.
40% y además de todo lo que aunado a ellos rubros, etcétera, para el mundo, el Golfo Pérsico, todos aquellos.
And the Persian Gulf, all of these countries that are facing the north. And this is the easiest route to Europe. Here we have India, Djibouti, that is in the African Horn. All of the zone is strategically very important for the United States, for their domain over the straits. We are in the 21st century, and we have not been yet able to have another alternative that is beyond the maritime to solve the commercial transportation, be this of any type of supplies. Let's not forget that just recently there were military practices in the Oman Gulf between Iran, China, and Russia. Well, this is the door to the new emerging markets. Well, the Caspian Sea that has a geopolitical importance, because it serves the Caucasian countries as well as the northern countries. From here, you can establish an easy route. Just to clarify, imagine in this map, we're speaking of Iran that is next to Iraq, and Syria, Lebanon, Yemen. So now we're speaking of the position and why kill Soleimani, and because he was the godfather of 3 countries against the war against ISIS. And well, let's not forget that ISIS was the creation of the U.S. This is what Bill Clinton said himself. So that was a confession. And this character that has carried out a war on land with his people to liberate and expel ISIS that was trying to divide the Middle East. So here we have the Yemen of Bab el-Mandeb, and we have the African Horn of Djibouti right here. Here we have the position of Iran with Hormuz. Here we have an axis. Here we have Syria, Iran, Lebanon. All of this axis is like a time bomb that can explode the imperialistic plan of the United States. Just some days ago, Israel and Greece has signed an agreement to pass through Palestine. And what they're trying to do is to make a gas pipeline that will bring out the gas directly.
Violando todos los tratados, porque usted sabe que la mitad de Chipre, acuérdate, el 33% de Chipre está ocupado por los turcos. Los turcos están reclamando derechos sobre las plataformas de prospección petrolera que están en toda esta zona.
Que ellos crearon que bajo el pretexto de matar directamente
and with the pretext of killing Soleimani
que igual, no le resta
and the other leaders,
que por allí pueden frenar en
They-
cierta forma.
they don't care that
Aquel
they could stop.
personaje, como lo han hecho después de 2006, han matado el líder, igual combatiente.
They could stop the
Madrid,
leader.
y el brazo, un brazo importante
And
de,
of course, it's an
Hezbollah en
important
Líbano,
branch
desde
of
2006
Hezbollah
la
in
guerra que se
Lebanon.
llevó a cabo. Entonces, después de la pérdida en
So
guerra de
after
Siria,
the loss
después que
in the
se
Syrian war,
atrevió, después
after
de
that
tanto
he
divisionismo
dared
en Irak, a atacar la
to
embajada,
attack the
que,
embassy
hizo recordar mucho, yo
that
creo,
made
al
us
Pentágono, la
recall
imagen de 1979
when
cuando empezó
1979, what happened in Iran, when they wanted to bring down the Shah of Iran.
la revolución iraní. Entonces parece que esto le removió un poco
And this
el
really
instinto
moved
bestial,
this
porque puedo llamarlo de
animal
Estados Unidos, que no
instinct
miran al mundo como
of the
seres
United
humanos,
States,
sino
that
en
the thing
números.
is that they don't
Entonces,
see
han
the world
logrado
as
este país que
partners.
han tratado tanto de dividir entre sunita, chiita, no sé qué, el norte, el sur, donde esté Kirkuk, donde está el Mosul. Ahorita vamos a hablar de Basra, el Basra, la llamamos Basra.
Basora.
Sí, Basora en Siria. Entonces,
Here we have all of these
estamos
regions.
hablando de esta zona donde
We're
tiene
speaking
que
of
estar
this part
repleta de
here,
gas
which is
y
full
de-
of
y
gas
de petróleo que
and
supera,
oil that can
la reserva del Golfo
that goes
Pérsico
beyond
en
the
conjunto, que
reserve of the
tratan
Persian
de
Gulf
estar, en su presencia.
as a whole.
Entonces han logrado entrar a la
So
embajada
they've been able to get
norteamericana y
into the
y
US
solicitar
embassy
ya la salida
and
de
push them out
Norteamérica
and
de
asking
de esa base.
the US
Fue,
to leave
realmente
the
la gota que
space.
estalló el vaso y,
Obviously,
como
this was the
un-
last
como
drop
su política
that fulfilled
que
the cup.
no mide, sino consecuencias
And this is a
económicas,
consequence
fue
of this
apresurada,
policy
fue
that only
un-
thinks of economic
golpe
convenience.
bajo para Estados Unidos.
This was a
Realmente,
low blow.
terminó con el asesinato de nuestro
¿Salen las tropas regulares de los Estados Unidos?
And
¿Se irán los contratistas?
do you think that the contractors will leave? Do you think that the military forces will leave? But this is for another program. We will analyze this in some other time.
Exactamente, el verdadero peligro.
Aunado a ellos,
And on top of this, there was an attack of
de la
Hezbollah,
coalición o
of
del grupo Hashabi, lo llaman,
of the Khashabi
popular,
group.
la agrupación popular de Irán.
This is the popular group of Iran against the Kirkuk base in the north of Iraq.
Kirkuk, sí, en Kirkuk aquí. Entonces han logrado qué hacer.
And they've been able
unos misiles y se mató una persona que todavía es bajo anonimato.
Sí, sí.
El nombre dicen que por bombardeo ahí se mató
There has-
un inversionista norteamericano.
There has
Pero
been an
sabemos
American
que
person that has been killed.
norteamericano.
But of course, we don't know the name, and his identification will never be revealed. And who killed him, it's not clear.
En diferentes lugares que han tenido últimamente ciertos ataques. Por ende, el mapa se está cambiando.
So therefore, the map is
Dios
changing.
quiera que esa sangre
And
de
let's
Dios,
hope that
que
that
será
blood
libertaria
that has
para
been
el
shed
mundo
will
entero.
be of liberty.
Muchas gracias, doctora.
Thank you,
Un segundo
Dr.
para lo que iba a decir.
Isabel.
No, rápidamente. Las posiciones ahí son bastante difíciles. Estamos hablando de
So
Hezbollah, estamos hablando
we're
de un
speaking
ejército-
of
de un
difficult
ejército
groups of
regular, y
Hezbollah,
yo me atrevo a decir
the
que
regular
es una tropa armada,
militaries.
es un ejército regular con
They
un
are a
alto
regular
sentido de lo que
military
significa ser
force.
árabe, querer su identidad,
But
querer
they
su
love their
autonomía
identity.
y
They
luchar
know
contra
what
el
it means to
imperialismo,
be
no contra los
Arab.
norteamericanos. La guerra no es contra Norteamérica, la guerra es contra
The
los
work is not
imperialistas.
against Latin America.
Una connotación rapidita. Hoy lo que se ha presenciado
today what we've seen
otra variable que no se veía antes
is a new
que
variable that has never been
resistente
seen
todo
before.
se unió para hacer la
Because-
respuesta.
and
Quiere
this
decir,
is that-
estamos hablando de Hezbollah en el
that
Líbano,
Hezbollah in
estamos
Lebanon,
hablando de Siria,
that
estamos
Syria,
hablando de Hamas, estamos
Hamas,
hablando de Yemen, de los Houthi,
Yemen,
estamos hablando de Irán, estamos
Iran,
hablando de Hasbi Shabi
Hasbi
Quiere
Shabi,
decir, de
and they have
diferentes
all
puntos,
joined
todos
together.
estos
This is
puntos
something
va
that
a haber
has
la
not
guerra
been seen
bélica
before.
a nivel militar, a nivel
This will be
resistencia, a nivel diplomático,
Both military
todo Estados
and
Unidos.
resistance and
Se
diplomatic
queda corto
forces
también el
against
programa,
the United
señores.
States.
Vamos a las conclusiones.
Well, let's go to our conclusions now. It's too bad that our program has been Once having ignited the fire, is there a plan B to bring down the tensions? Will the United States have the will to do so? The Persian escalator has been clear on what's going on. What are the effects that this assassination may have in the Middle East? And not only the Middle East, in the world. Who are the allies on both sides? And what will be their positions?